Hey, it's Expired Cubing, and this is going to be a video where I analyze one of my 2.91 averages. The average wasn't great given the scrambles, but we'll go over why that was the case in the video. So yeah, let's look at the first solve. So this solve was a 217, which was the fastest counting time in the average, but it could have and should have been sub 2, but lockups just made it so it wasn't. So let's look at the solution I did. So for this scramble, the solution I chose was the blue V. So for this V, I did these two tips at the same time, right at the beginning, and then I went to an R prime U prime, so I could move this center and edge complex over, insert this edge and solve this center, and then I bring it down so I could solve the V. I rotated and did the alpha E like this, and I was done. So the reason this wasn't sub 2 was because when I was doing this part of my alpha E, I just locked up completely, and the solve wasn't really great after that. But yeah, the rest of the solution was good. That was the first solution. On to the next. So this was the worst solve in the average, being 386, but I don't think it was because of the solution. The solution wasn't great, but it was the best thing I could find at the time, and the best thing I could still find now. The reason it was bad was just because of horrendous lockups, as you saw. But yeah, let's get into the solution now. So for this scramble, I decided to do top first. Given I saw this as like I could easily set up to a Nutella, and inserting this would solve this edge, leaving this to be the only edge left, which would be a really easy Nutella. So that's just what I decided to do. I decided to do these two tips at the same time, U prime and then a B, so I could just do this Nutella real quick. But none of it was smooth. It was all terrible and lucky. I rotated and I got a 2-flip, which is the worst of the last 3 edges cases at the end of a top first solve. But it happens. I'm not quite at the point where I can one look every single one of my top first solves to try and prevent getting a 2-flip. So this was just one of those solves where I got unlucky and ended up with it. But yeah, that was the second solve. Let's go on to the third. So this solve was also horrendous and loggy. I really don't know what was up with me in this average, but sometimes you just don't turn smooth. It's not your day. But yeah, let's look at the solution now. Okay, so unlucky, the solution had all the tips, but what I did was all the tips at the same time, which I would not have done. But because solving this tip would have been bad. But for the body, I did a hedge so I could do this, and then I did a U so I could solve the V. I rotated. This is probably when I should have solved the top, but I just wasn't thinking and did them all at the same time. I did the L4E where I do a sledge and then an insert, and then that was a solve done. So yeah, that was the third scramble. That was really bad and full of lockups. The next two solves are a bit better, so yeah, let's look at them now. Okay, so that was the fourth solve. Let's look at the reconstruction now. Okay, so this was a very interesting solve. I I started like this, and what I did was I did these 3 tips at the beginning. Again, I should not have done this tip right at the beginning, but I did this to stop the V, which was quite a few moves, but I did it fast, so it was fine. I rotated, and I did this Alfari. I made sure to take out this edge that was flipped, so I wouldn't have to get a 2 flip as my last 3 edges, and I just continued rolling. This solve was very weird and locky, but it wasn't quite as locky as the 3s I got earlier, but it still could have been better. So yeah, let's go to the fastest solve of the average next. Okay, so that was a pretty good solve. It still had a little bit of lockups and it wasn't as completely flowing smooth as it could have been. But yeah, it was a 177. I can't complain. Let's look at the reconstruction now. Okay, so as you can see with the one movie, it unfortunately does have all the tips, but that's fine. I did it by I tried to do these 3 tips at the beginning, but I messed up this tip and ended up doing it the wrong way. So I did that, and then I just did in the V. I one looked and saw that I was gonna get this Alfari with no rotation, and then I just did my last 2 tips. This one being the one I messed up. But yeah, that was still a pretty good solve. I can't complain. That's actually the fastest solve I have on camera, even though it's not too crazy fast. But yeah, that was my average of 5. The average of 5 came out to be 291, which was sub 3, so I'm not too mad. But I do average a little bit faster than that now. This average was plagued with a lot of lockups and turning that was terrible. So hopefully I'll tidy that up for Southeast Champs and maybe go crazy and get a sub 3. I'm looking to make a mains and goals video for Southeast Championships, so that will be out soon. And yeah, I'm expired cubing, and now I'm not.